Is we got to pick a day. So you need to know when you're going camping, right? Let's go over to our gear rack. So this is my gear rack. This is where I store all my equipment. Definitely gonna need those. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Midweek Escape Artist. My name is Andre, and today I'm just going to run you through my process and what I do before I go camp. So we're going to cover everything from planning to prepping to packing today. I know it's not going to be new information for a lot of you, but keeping in mind there's a lot of people out there on YouTube that have never camped before. So this is probably for them. Although I do hope that you get some value out of it as well. If you're an experienced camper, put some comments in the box below for us. Let us know what you think, if we do anything different to what you do, or if there's a best practice I'm not aware of. And just before we get started, guys, thank you so much to everyone who's viewed our videos in the past. It means the world to me, and as you can probably tell, our channel has exceeded the 1,000 subscriber mark now, which is absolutely amazing, and I'm super grateful, guys. So good. But yeah, so I have got a gap booked on Wednesday, which is coming up. It's Monday today, so we got 2 days to sort of get ourselves together and get going for the camp on Wednesday. And I'm going to show you my process in terms of how I arrive there, and then what I pack and how I decide what to take. And I am in the privileged position where I do have a lot of choice when it comes to packing for camping. Now what I will say though is I tend not to try and buy expensive gear. I buy gear that I can use for a couple of months and then replace. So I think the stuff that I've got now is sort of within the inexpensive to sort of mid-range of camping gear that's available out there. I don't like buying super expensive stuff, although I do have some expensive gear, but that's normally things that I don't plan on changing or replacing anytime soon. So without further ado, let me show you how I work my process. Thanks, guys. Let's have a look. Alright guys, so we're right here by the computer now, and I'm going to show you just sort of how I get started. So the first thing we need to do is we got to pick a day. So you need to know when you're going camping, right? So in my calendar here, I've already got a camp booked here for this week. So I selected that based on what was happening around there and whether or not I'll have enough time to actually get a camp done without stressing myself out too much. So I've picked a date. And so from there, so when I know when I'm going to be going, the next step for me is to see where I was last year, the same time, and see, you know, if there's any reason or any sort of thing that I'd like to go and do again at that specific location. In this instance, I was out with a friend close to a river stop, and I really do want to go back there, but this campsite has since been temporarily closed and I can't get hold of anyone there, so we obviously can't go there. My next step is to have a look at HipCamp. So HipCamp is an Australian app. I'm not sure if it's available in the rest of the world, but it's in Australia, where you can go and camp on private property. People list it. It's very similar to Airbnb for camping. So what I do normally is I enter my dates. So I've got the dates in there that I wanted to go, and I click search, and it'll tell you exactly which campsites are available for those dates. And in the list, it is filtered by closest to you to furthest away, which is really cool. So you can kind of tell where you want to go. So there's quite a few different options here for me. I did end up selecting this one, the Scrub at Inman Valley. It is one that I've never been to, and it looks really cool. It's got good reviews. It's got quite a few reviews as well, so that, you know, puts my mind at ease. So if I couldn't find something on HipCamp, the next thing I would do would be to have a look at the national parks and national forests and see if there's anything in there I wanted to do. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this site. So Inman Valley is right down here. I hope you guys can see this. But it's right in this little spot here. Next step that I need to do is obviously book the campsite, but then after that we check our fire rating. So let me just go onto our Country Fire Service website, And as you can see here, we're in the same location. Everything is green, which means it's a high risk of fire. But that basically means you can still have a comfort and cooking fire, but there are some restrictions on the size and as well as what's around it. But that does mean that we are able to have a campfire there, which is great. And I have also confirmed that with the owner of the campground. So I've sent them a message saying, hey, I'm coming at this time at this day. We're looking forward to it, obviously introducing myself as well. But then I asked them the question about the campfire situation, and they said it's all good. Happy for you to go. So what I'll do in the meantime is I'll keep an eye on the fire rating until the day that I go. Normally fire bans are imposed at 4 o'clock on that day. So if nothing happens by 4 p.m, then we're good to have a fire, which is great. And then after that, I have a look at the weather just to see what I can expect. Now, I got to tell you one thing though, the weather doesn't persuade me from going or not going. I will still go, regardless of what the weather's doing, but I like just knowing what I'm in for. So if we have a look at our 5-day forecast, which obviously can change, for our date here, we're looking at a high at 1:30 p.m, which is roughly when I'll get there, about 19 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be slightly on the cooler side, and it's dropping down to about 13 degrees at night, and then back up to around 20 degrees the next day when we'll be leaving. So it's slightly colder than our normal summer camps, which can be in the 30s and high 30s. So it's a little bit on the cooler side. So basically what that means is I'm going to have to pack for slightly colder weather. I am going to be able to have a fire, so that does help at night. That also does change what I'm going to be cooking for dinner. So yeah, so we've covered now where I'm going to go, when I'm going to go, what the weather's going to be like, and all of that sort of dictates what I'm going to pack. We've also discovered that we are going to be able to have a fire, which is great, so that changes my kitchen setup a little bit. And the next step from there is to start packing our gear for this trip. Let's go over to our gear rack. Alright, hey guys, so this is my gear rack. This is where I store all my equipment, and I'll just quickly briefly run you through what this is, because it looks a bit chaotic, but there is method to my madness. So at the top here I have everything that I classify as a shelter. My tents, my hammocks, anything that sort of goes with that system. So all of that is right at the top here. I can see exactly what's where. Everything is sort of positioned with its counterpart if there is one. So that's all at the top there for me. In this sort of upper rack here, I have got all my tarps, shelters and ground covers. I've got my poles that I need for those if I do decide to take any of them. Over here I've got a Tyvek ground cover, a normal sort of picnic blanket ground cover. I have got a couple of tables, and my bivvy and my winter blanket is up here. And then on this side I have got things that I sort of classify as camp furniture. So I've got a couple of tables, I've got my chairs, some more tables and some more tables, because obviously I have a bit of a table fetish when it comes to camping stuff. And then if we move down to this area here, this little Alton bag has got all my spare bags in it. So little bags that I can put stuff in, my compression sacks, little bags. I've also got my solar panel that I sometimes take with me. Over here I've got my dry bags rolled up, ready to go. I've got my camera case. So this little area here is my sort of equipment and electronics side. This is where I do my camera stuff, where I prep my cameras, charge my camera gear, my drones, all of that sort of stuff is here. And then if we move over to this section here, this is basically a charging bay. So this is where I charge all of my lights, my pumps, my equipments, anything that needs charging gets charged here. I've got a couple of spare bags. I've got a massive water bottle. And then on this side in the corner here, I've got some candles. I have got a ton of sort of carabiners and things that I can connect other stuff with. I have my hammock straps, my ridge lines, some more pegs, all that sort of gear. Here I've got just some extra bags if I tend to need anything. On this sort of side here, I've got my essential tools, my axe, my saw, my knife, just so I can remember always to pack those. And yeah, so that's for the for the top section there, guys. Now, if we go below, I'll just bring you down a little bit to show you what's down here. All right, guys, so now we're at the bottom of the rack here. This section here is basically all of my kitchen stuff. Everything that I classify as things for fire, things for cooking, things for cleaning, coffee stuff, water stuff, all of that lives in here. It looks a little messy, but everything is kind of segregated in sort of its type. So it makes it really easy for me to see what's where, what I've got, what I've packed, what I haven't packed yet. So that's that section. And then the section you see here is everything I classify as sleeping. Sleep systems, mattresses, sleeping bags, blankets, pillows, all that sort of stuff is in there. I've also got my pumps that I use to inflate my air mattresses in there. So that's that side. And then if we move down here, this is where I keep my storage boxes as well as my tools, my extra tent pegs, stuff like that. I've got my solo stove mesa on this side with another storage tote bag and another steel storage container. So from here I can now look and decide, all right, what goes, what doesn't go, what am I going to take this time, and it just makes my life so much easier. But I think what we'll do now is we'll get into the packing phase. Right, let's do that. Boys and girls, so we got to start packing. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to grab one of my boxes out. I normally start with one of them, and maybe I'll bring the other one out as well. Right, cool. So we've got two boxes here. Now I never know if I'm actually going to use both, but that's just normally where I like to start. So I also like to start with my furniture stuff first. My furniture, my comfort, all of that sort of jazz. Normally I pack that first. So let's start. I usually always take my One Tigress table just because it's super reliable and I know exactly what to expect. So I'm always going to take that guy. He goes right in the bottom there. And then next up we want a chair, obviously. So I'll just take my new Alton Goods chair. It goes right in there. I'll just put it in like that for now. Then I might take another table actually, just in case. I'll take one of my One Tigress roll-up tables. There we go. So I've got two tables and a chair right in there. And obviously the boxes also form tables themselves as well, so that's cool. So two tables and a chair, nice. Next up, I'm probably going to take, because I think for our shelter situation, I'm going to use something new. So I'm just going to grab that out. All right, so I know it looks huge, but this is going to be our shelter for Wednesday, and its associated accessories. There we go. That's our shelter. That's done. Nice. I'm going to need a ground sail as well, so I'm just going to grab that and put that over here. Cool. All right, next up. All right, bedding. We need bedding. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Alton Goods insulated mattress. I'm going to take my mattress cover, my pillow, and then in terms of sleeping, I might just take my One Tigress blanket. Cool. And then that's it for that. Oh, I'll need my pump as well. That goes in there. Yeah, I need poles. Definitely going to need those. Let's put those in there for now. Nice. So I think from a furniture perspective, that covers me for most things. Oh, you know what? I might take another table. I'll take another One Tigressy one. Cool. Great. So that is our furniture, sleeping and comfort sort of stuff all done. Great. Let's move on to kitchen and cooking. Alright guys, so just before we finalize all of this, I like just to get things a little bit tidy. So balls can get right in there. can go there. Blanket can go right in there. It's actually quite cool because this guy can compress quite a bit. So we'll just compress him, not too much. We don't really need that much space for this camp, so that could just go in there. Then my mattress and my pump. Oh, it's stuck. Pump, go in there. Cool. Here we go. So there's still a ton of room in here for other stuff. So yeah, we might not need the second box. Let's see how we go. Now what I like to do with my kitchen is I grab this little bag. So this is just a little Sea to Summit mesh bag. That's what everything goes into. Now we've already established that we are going to be able to have a fire, so that's cool. That means I only have to take, or I only really need to take one of my stoves. So there's some gas and my stove there, so I don't need to take the rest. I am definitely going to take some water wipes, which are just useful for a lot of different things. I'll take my little shovel just in case, and because we're going to be cooking over a fire, I'll take my little titanium Pathfinder grill just there. It might be a little windy as well, so I'll take my windshield. Definitely going to take a lighter because I'll need it. I'm going to take my fire starting stuff as well. Need that. Cool. So this little bag here, this little Alton Goods bag, I have got all my cutlery and my skewers, a knife and fork, and a very sharp open L kitchen knife. That goes in there. I'm going to take my camp knife. Now I am going to make a couple of nice coffees, so I want my milk frother and my milk jug. I'm going to take my Nanoprezzo. Yeah, I'll take the Nanoprezzo this time. And then what else? Oh yeah, so in here, this little guy here, I have got a little titanium pot, and in there I've got my titanium mug as well. So this thing is great for like going on fires and cooking on the stove. That goes there. I am not going to need pots this time around. I am going to take my titanium plates, and I'll take a pan for breakfast. And then I'll need some cutting boards. I'll take these guys. There we go. That's cool. And what else is there? Oh yeah, I need my milk thermometer. Take my first aid kit. And I'm going to take these little stainless steel sort of Sierra cups, which are great. There's 2 in here. So I'll pack that as well. Nice. What else was there? That's not necessary. None of that. None of that. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take my head net. Because we're out in Inland Valley, there might be some flies around because it's farmland. So I'll take this guy. And then obviously we just need to replace our other kitchen stuff. Or cleaning stuff. So in this little bag, I have got a scourer and some soaps and things. So that goes in there. Cool. And I think that's good for our kitchen. So I'm just going to get everything into the bag, and then we'll take it from there. So let's do that now. Let's get comfortable. So the first thing I like to do is get my cutting boards in there. So let's smash all of that in. Cool. So that's cutting boards, my pan, my plates, my Sierra cups. That goes in right there. And then sort of long, loose things I can shove in the sides. Maybe all of these dudes. Cool. Lighter. Kitchen knife. There we go. And then these little flat dudes can go sort of on top there. And that's nice. My fire stuff. Let's put there. First aid kit. Coffee dude. Or maybe I'll just shove the coffee guy in there. We've got our wipes. Stove. My gas. And then these things I can pretty much keep loose. My head net in there. Oh, my cleaning stuff can just go down there. There we go. And then I'm going to cinch this up. And there we go. Kitchen. That can just go in there. Put that in there. And that in there. Sweet. Kitchen done. Alright guys, so that's pretty much basically it for the first little bit of pack. The next thing I like to do is get my things together that I classify as sort of tools and things I'm going to need. So we are having a fire, so I'm definitely going to take my axe. Definitely taking my saw and my knife. There's my knife. And this is my saw just in case. Then what we need to do is, I'm not sure what the ground situation is going to be at this camp. So I've got a bag here with some really strong tension lines and some really strong thick tent pegs. So I'll be taking those. Just get that closed up. And then in addition to that, I'm going to take my gloves, work gloves, and I'm going to take my toolbox. So my little toolbox has got my hammer, my tent lines, some lightweight pegs, some anti-flap things, which I also can use to connect tarps in different ways. That's all good. And I've got a spare ridge line in there. And there we go. And that's it. So that's all for my sort of tool section. Pegs, gloves, knife, axe, saw. That's all good. And I don't think I'm gonna need, oh, there's an extra line there. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna need anything else. So there we go guys, that is it. Oh, I might take my firewood carrier, which was a gift from my mate Caleb. Caleb, thank you for this. This is awesome. Try that out as well. Cool. And there we go guys, that is my tools done. So let's move on to replenishing our kitchen things that we're going to take. And yeah, next steps. Hi guys, so I hope you're enjoying it so far. I've just finished replenishing my kitchen stuff. So that means my olive oils, my other things, salt, pepper, my herbs, all of that stuff. I filled up my containers again. So that's all good to go. I think now the next phase that I'll talk to you about is sort of the last little step. And that is about how you get food and water and stuff like that to camp. So I'm not going to demonstrate that for you now because I think, you know, I don't need to teach you how to suck eggs. So when you talk about getting water to camp, I like having a nice big water container. So this is a 2-liter container. I really like this guy. It's insulated. It keeps the water reasonably cool. I really like that 2-liter container. So that amount of water normally gets me through an overnight camp. All my coffees, whatever. Now, keeping in mind, if you're planning on doing rice or pasta, you're going to need more than this. If there's more than one person, you're going to need more than this. So this is for me, if I'm not doing rice or pastas or anything like that, more than enough. Now, if you need more, I highly recommend these soft cell water bags or something similar. I just like them because they come in different sizes, and because they're soft, they tend to fit into places quite well. They tend to mold the shape you put them in, so I really like these. They're also cool because they can double as showers, or if you hang them up, you can sort of pour your water out, which is really cool. I really rate these as well. And then for getting your food to camp, dry stuff, I tend to put in something like this. If it's not wet or whatever, I'll use this guy. This is just a normal really cute little lunchbox that I got. You know, imagine like a kid's lunchbox. That's kind of what this is. I'll put a frozen ice, ice pack. I'll put one in here, and then my food goes in. If there's sort of wet or frozen stuff or stuff I want to keep separate, I have got this Yeti Day Trip bag, which is brilliant, by the way. This is a really nice little piece of kit. I normally use this for like my beers and liquids, anything like that. I'll stick it in here. An ice pack fits in there with normally 6 beers and maybe, you know, some sparkling water if you like. So that's quite cool to have as well. And then something new that I'm going to be trying, which I've tried in my previous camp and I'll be testing again on Wednesday, is the ice mule cooler. So this is a really interesting piece of kit. It is incredibly effective at keeping things cold and keeping ice. So if you're going to be taking ice on your camp, I recommend one of these. I think it's cool. So I'm going to be using this to cart my drinks and my soda water and things like that. I'm going to put in here. And yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. As for the rest of it, it's kind of dealer's choice. Like, you need to plan your campsite to the level where you feel comfortable with your equipment and what you're taking and what you're going to be doing. But yeah, I think I've explained to you everything I do. Now, I'm not saying my way is the right way or the only way, but it is one way. So if your way varies or is different, or if you're taking different stuff, or if your process is different, please pop it in the comments below. And yeah, if you have any questions, anything I've missed, anything you'd like me to cover in the future, let us know as well. But yeah, guys, I've enjoyed making this little one for you, and I hope you've enjoyed this little behind the scenes of how camps happen. I might show some behind the scenes stuff for you in the future as well, but this is just sort of an introduction. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and yeah, stay safe, go out camp, go have some adventures, and maybe I'll see you there. Cheers, guys. Thank you.